Space Marine chaplains are the priests and guides of the Space Marines, often watching them from the time they're an applicant to a fully fledged battle brother. On the battlefield, they lead their brothers to battle, firing them up with inspiring chants and recitations of their chapter's histories and great deeds. And some of them do it on a jump pack, when they really need to get to those enemies quick to preach their imperial truth, if you will. Anyways, the jump pack chaplain comes in at 75 points, which is actually not too bad. Moves 12 inches, toughness 4, 3+ save, a 4+ invulnerable save, 4 wounds, leadership 5+, and OC 1. And unlike a lot of Space Marines, he has a whole suite of weapon options. He has his bolt pistol, which is one attack that hits on 3s at 12-inch range with strength 4, AP 0, and damage 1. But who cares about that when you can swap it out for any of the following? A bolt gun is 2 attacks that hit on 3s at 24-inch range with strength 4, AP 0, and damage 1. Also pretty weak, so don't bother with it. Same with the combi weapon, which has anti-infantry and dev wounds, rapid fire 1, but it's less accurate at strength 4, AP 0, damage 1 at 24-inch range. The grav pistol is at least somewhat interesting, having anti-vehicle 2+, one attack that hits on 3s at 12-inch range with strength 4, AP 1, and damage 2. Not a bad shot to just hit a tank with if you really want to. Then the hand flamer isn't exactly the strongest choice, though is very evocative in its imagery. It has ignore, cover, and torrents, d6 attacks that obviously auto-hit at 12-inch range with only strength 3, AP 0, damage 1. The strength 3 really holds this back from being anything special. The Inferno pistol, though, is a fun little sting-in-the-tail weapon with one attack that hits on 3s at only 6-inch range with strength 8, AP 4, and damage d3. It also has Melta 2, as it is a Melta pistol. This is a fun little pistol, though nothing to write home about, really. The Plasma Pistol has one attack that hits on 3s at 12-inch range with strength 7, AP 2, and damage 1, or you can overcharge for strength 8, AP 3, and damage 2 while getting hazardous. Then the Storm Bolter has rapid fire 2, 2 attacks that hit on 3s at 24-inch range with strength 4, AP 0, and damage 1. That was a rather quick coverage, but I just want to say in terms of pistols, I'd say the best pistols are the Inferno Pistol, Grav Pistol, or Plasma Pistol. However, there is the problem that you can swap that out for a Power Fist, so he'll be having his Crozius and his Power Fist. The Power Fist is 4 attacks that hit on 2s, strength 8, AP 2, and damage 2, a very solid melee weapon. And the Crozius Arcanum is better against sort of medium to light infantry with 5 attacks that hit on 2s, strength 8, AP 1, and damage 2. He has the Litany of Hate, which is +1 to wound, and when he charges in, you roll a d6, and on a 4 to 5, the enemy suffers d3 mortal wounds, and on a 6, they suffer 3. Then in terms of leader options, he of course has the Jump Intercessors, as his main unit. They combo, unsurprisingly, very well. Obviously, the Jump Intercessors are very fast, and their special rule allows them to do even more mortal wounds, so when they charge in, they're going to average 4 to 5 mortal wounds on any target, which is very solid to help finish something off or just soften up a tank. And obviously, with the couple of Power Fists, with +1 to wound, their melee is actually quite nasty against all targets. And if you can get extra AP, even better for those Chain Swords and the Power Fists. While Jump Pack Veterans are certainly nowhere near as good as Jump Assault Intercessors, I do think there is some fun to be had in their pistols. Particularly, the Flamer pistols, I think, are interesting in a detachment we'll cover soon. And then I would be remiss not to mention the Blood Angels, who I haven't played in a while, but their Death Company obviously need chaplains around to keep them functioning, and Death Company hit really hard, and this guy helps with that, of course. I'd say the best option, though, for the rest of the factions, and for a more secondary role, would be Jump Intercessors. Though I don't think Van Vets are totally awful. I think all 3 units are actually a solid choice, though my favorite is the Jump Intercessors, unsurprisingly, as I don't play Blood Angels that much anymore, and I don't even have any Death Company in my Blood Angels army, because it was pretty much just made out of Indomitus and then a bunch of random units. But that's a story for another day, I suppose. And then in terms of detachments, on the core front, we have the Gladius, of course, which is the take-all-comers. They love the advance and charge and the assault doctrine, though he isn't the best target for Honor the Chapter, as he already has +1 to wound. However, he does love the extra AP, as does the Jump Intercessors he's leading. In terms of Anvil, he doesn't really have much buffs there indirectly, because he doesn't have any heavy weapons and likes to be on the move all the times, though he does have a fine enough applicant for the 5+ field no pain when you're in objectives, as these guys are quite good objective grabbers. Then in Firestorm, he quite likes the War-Tempered Artifice, as that gives him +3 strength on his melee weapons, which is good on both the Crozius and the Power Fist. I forgot to mention in Gladius, this guy quite likes Honor Vehement for 6 attacks and a strength 10 Power Fist. And then, swooping back around to Firestorm, there is something interesting you could do with Van Vets, where if you deep strike them and they all have Hand Flamers, that's 6 Hand Flamers, which isn't too bad for the Vulcan Histon plus Mortal Wound Bomb with devastating wounds in that detachment. If at the very least not competitive, but it is cool. In terms of Stormlance, more speed is always good. These guys are fast, and going faster is better, and this obviously just helps them get around the board faster and lets them get to combat easier. Then in terms of Vanguard, I'd say that him alone, he's a fine target for the Ghostweave Cloak, just given his melee is pretty good, which combos quite well with just being a tough lone operative. And then in terms of the first company, he's a fine leader for the Vanguard veterans, though I wouldn't say they're necessarily standout, and certainly not in first company, as the first company task force has a lot of problems, and just having this guy isn't necessarily going to fix them. Though I'd say out of the core detachments, his best is easily Gladius, and then I'd say Stormlance in a close second, with Firestorm in third. Oh, I forgot to mention Ironstorm. Fast-moving infantry are always a good addition to a tank force. This guy would be a fine candidate if you want a little bit more danger in your fast-moving secondary units. As we're going to cover here in just a second, their damage output is really impressive. The Jump Chaplain is rock solid. His combo of Crozius and Power Fist is really solid against all targets. And when he's leading those Jump Pack Intercessors, they're obviously doing those mortal wounds when they charge in. He makes them pretty hitty, really. Jump Intercessors with this guy in tow do have actually not a horrible chance at destroying something like a Land Raider, which would 100% make all their points back. And I already mentioned this, but in Blood Angels, if you're running Death Company, you need Chaplains, and the Death Company are on their jump packs all the time, so this is the best way to keep up with them. And as I mentioned with the Jump Pack Intercessors, they're not that far off from just instantly destroying something like a Land Raider, and at the very least, if not destroying it, leaving it very crippled, and the same goes for Knights, really, though they might not survive the encounter. That does make them very good at finishing off units, even if they're only slightly chipped. Just that little bit of damage can allow them to finish off these super tough enemies. And then, of course, being Jump Intercessors, they're just very good secondary units in general, and this guy, obviously he is an addition onto that, because then if they're on the flanks of the army, they're really going to just annihilate any other secondary unit they run into, whether that's guardsmen, sisters, whatever it may be. These guys will rip them apart, unsurprisingly, especially well with this guy in tow. And then, of course, as I mentioned, they can jump into armor and pretty quickly deal with it with very little issue, and then go back to doing their secondary duties. And as I mentioned, I don't think it's super competitive, but there is certainly some fun theory crafting to be had with this guy and a team of Vanguard veterans with some sort of fun pistols. Anyways, I've been Spoons Rattling. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.